Okay, we are continuing with our two big themes of the 2 days, digitalization and sustainability. Moving on to the sustainability side. So we already heard a very interesting presentation from Tatjana this morning on how Eramet is decarbonizing the manganese alloy business. And we are continuing in this thread. And I'm very happy to introduce our next speaker. She has more than 2 decades of deep commitment to sustainability and ESG. She's truly passionate about driving change in a very global way. She's joining us all the way from Brazil, from Sao Paulo, if I'm not wrong. And she's helping to shape the strategy of the largest ferroniobium producer in the world, CBMM. So please join me in giving a very warm and enthusiastic welcome to Cristiane Canavero. And I think in Brazil you would say bem-vinda. The floor is yours.
I meet some people today that speak Portuguese. It's so nice. Good afternoon, everybody. First of all, I'd like to start by saying a big thank you to Sebastian Metals Hub team for inviting us to be here today, sharing some thoughts and some ideas and initiatives with you all. So, here. Before jumping in the sustainability topic, here, just a briefly overview about our company. CBMM is a Brazilian multinational company based in Araxá, Minas Gerais. This year, we turned 70 years of operation, developing niobium products for the worldwide in several markets. We are about 2,000 employees. We have one of the differentiation from our company that we have a fully integrated chain from the mining, metallurgical, and chemical process. As a global company, we have offices spread all over the world. We have an office in Houston. Our headquarters is in Araxá, Minas Gerais. We have an office in São Paulo, an office in Amsterdam, Netherlands, tech center in Geneva, office in Singapore, and we have business through distributors in China, Korea, and Japan. All right. And one thing that CBMM provides is the most complete portfolio of niobium products. Our core product is the ferroniobium, but we have also oxides, we have niobium metal, nickel niobium, or niobium metal in the center. So this is the most complete portfolio you can see in terms of niobium products. And now, moving to the sustainability topic, one thing that is very important for us, it's our strategic approach in sustainability is that our commitment not only deliver the best products in terms of decarbonization, dematerialization, energy transition, but we also care about how those products are manufactured. This is very important for us because we understand that we need to deliver from an end to end, from the way we do, how we do, and the way we serve the market. And at CBMM, we have many initiatives in terms of sustainability. I used to say that my department is the biggest one because I have everybody working for them at sustainability. It's like my friends here, my colleagues from CBMM, right? They don't let me say something wrong here. Everybody works for sustainability because everybody has a role to move this agenda, everybody. So in this sense, as a priority, we need to focus in the company in some initiatives. We have everybody working on that, but the initiatives that we are really focusing in our 2-year strategies, first is to have an integrated decarbonization approach. This is the way we do, this is the way we see, and we are moving with this agenda. We present right after that to you. Sustainability for us is a lever, a business lever. what that means is not something a part of the business, it's mixed. As our business grows, we are growing the sustainability approach. I used to say that one feed another. So it's a flywheel impact. As we're growing, we deliver more impact, positive impact. Responsible supply chain. We have some customers here, and we understand very well the importance of being co-shared, shared responsibility, to share the responsibility with our suppliers. So we have a strong program to understand all the practices. I will present after to you, but our focus is not only on the big suppliers, but also to develop the medium and the small suppliers in terms of sustainability. And the fourth priority is to support the sustainable development of our community. It's based in Araxá, so the major focus of our investment, social impact investment, is in our local community in Araxá. Well, in terms of decarbonization, we announced our commitment to be a net zero company, scopes 1 and 2, by 2040. And we have been working hard to decarbonize our operations. Long years before 2022, the year that we announced the commitment, and now we have like the complete journey to achieve zero in 2040. And we are measuring year after year our intensity in terms of CO2. And in 2023, we achieved, our result was 0.57 tons of CO2 per tons of products, niobium products, which is very low, and we continue addressing that until reach out the zero, okay? And this is the approach we have in terms of decarbonization. It's not isolated in terms of operations or suppliers, so we have a full approach in terms of what we do. So scope 3, we have been working with our suppliers to reduce their carbon footprint. So we're mapping them and also helping them to structure the action plans. In terms of scope 1 and 2, our scope 2 is 0 because we ensure that 100% of electricity consumed in our plant, in our site, comes from renewable sources, 100% since 2019. So we are neutral in scope 2, and our main challenge is scope 1. And we have been reducing our carbon footprint year over year. If you can see, in the last 10 years, we reduced our carbon emissions by 49%. And I can tell you that we are under auditing process now, so I cannot share 2024, but we are even lower for last year in terms of carbon intensity. And as an integrated approach, we also work on our products to help our customers to decarbonize their value chain. So it's a fully integrated approach in terms of decarbonization. So the last slide was the company perspective. Now I will share from the product perspective. We have working hard to reduce the carbon footprint of our products. This is the numbers for our core product, ferroniobium. And as you can see, we have been reducing hard. From 2019 was 5.19 tons of CO2 per tons of ferroniobium standard, the intensity. And we reached out 1.66 tons of CO2 per tons of ferroniobium standard. This is scope 1, 2, and 3. It's the whole life cycle analysis. And in terms of transparency, we published APD You can see there's a QR code here. There, in this document is audited by DNV Italy to ensure the accuracy of the numbers. And you can see all the numbers in terms of environmental impact of ferroniobium, not only the intensity emissions. So this is our commitment to transparency with the marketing and with our customers, right? And this is our core. 80% of our market is ferroniobium, but we've also been working to even decrease. We have ferroniobium low emission with the EPD published too, you can see in the website, with the even lower carbon footprint. In terms of a natural resource, as I can share, we are Scope 2 is 0 because we ensure that 100% of our electricity comes from renewable hydropower. I have been asked about the metrics in Brazil. We are not 100% renewable in Brazil. We have 75% coming from hydropower and the rest of other sources. But for our plant, we ensure 100% since 2019. And in terms of water consumption, we are very conscious about that. So our water recirculation rate is 19.6%. So we use as most as possible in the recirculation in order to avoid to capture new water for the process. This is one of the slides that I like most. I have been working to protect the biodiversity where our facility is located for long, long years, more than 40 years, 50 years ago. When it comes to Brazil, usually when we think about the biodiversity, usually people think about the Amazon, right? The Amazon forest, the climate change. This is where the mind of most of the people goes, to the Amazon. But there's other biomes in Brazil, and Cerrado biome is where we are located, is the second largest. And this biome is super fragile in terms of care and keep the nature and the biodiversity alive. So what we did, we created an environmental center, development center, to protect those species that are endangered. So this wolf, we can find only in Brazil, only in Cerrado, near our facility. It's called Lobo-Guará, and he's endangered now. And we have a center just to reproduce and reintroduce Lobo-Guará in the nature in order to keep the species alive. And we dedicate efforts and investment to do that, not only from the wildlife side, but also from the flora side, cultivating seeds that are endangered too. So this is part of our commitment, and this is why I say that it's important to see how the products manufactured, because niobium comes to this type of product too, and supports with to keep this type of initiative. And we have been developing educational programs since long years, and especially for children, with more than 77,000 people and children being more conscious because of the education program that we have. Supply chain. We understand that we have shared responsibility with our suppliers. And we have been working in the sustainability topics in terms of governance and to increase the initiatives for many years also. But last year, we focused on the medium and the small. Those that, when we ask about sustainability, they said, what? What is that? Even imagine I speaking about carbon emissions to them. I'm talking about like supply with 1 employee, 10 employees, those really small. And we created this program to help them not only to adopt more sustainability practices, but to help them to be more competitive and grow their business. and employ more people. So this is our responsibility also with our suppliers. And this program is focused on the medium and the small groups. Take into consideration that 52% of our suppliers are local, so we have a big responsibility with them. Moving to corporate social responsibility, this is one of our main priorities. We have been investing huge, big time on these programs. Our key pillars are sport, health, culture, education, entrepreneurship, especially education. In 2023, we invested more or less $7 million in programs to develop the community, the local community, impacting, direct benefiting 800,000 people, directly benefited from the programs, and we are very proud of. In terms of transparency, governance, we have been releasing sustainability report since 2013, is audited since 2017. In 2 weeks, we will release our 2024 chapter of the sustainability report. All data are there, is audited, and you can find in our website. Very quickly, our portfolio, when we think about sustainability and niobium, what type of sustainability trends we address? We address electrification, we address decarbonization, we address dematerialization, energy transition. So all of these aspects, somehow, each of our materials are connected and supporting the market and customers on that. For example, in terms of structural applications, niobium provides several functionalities for the products, for the applications that we have. For example, provides greater resistance for the buildings. The niobium also provides to use less material in the construction on the builds and the innovative designs, as you can see. And I will share a real case with you. This is a very high building in China, 528 meters high, this building. And it was used niobium to build this structure. And what was the difference? What was the improvement that niobium provided to this building? Through the niobium, through the dematerialization concept and decarbonization, through the use of niobium, we were able to save 2,600 tons of steel, of material, of the building. And this impacted in saving 6,300 tons of CO2 in just one of structure. And when think about low carbon footprint, low consumption of raw materials, on the other side, we deliver safety. Because, for example, this building can resist a hard quake of 8-point intensity. So it's very safe. So this is the benefit of using niobium in this application, sustainable structures. Same for automotive. Niobium also supports to have the more lighter automotive, stronger and lighter components, to be more energy efficient, and all of this impact on the reduction of CO2. Here we have a real case of a dump truck that we applied niobium to build the truck, and we were able to save about 2,000 kilos of material. And saving a lot in terms of CO2. So the niobium, this is what I would like to highlight when I mentioned that niobium is a product that delivers sustainability in the end. And here are some real cases for you. And finishing, we play a role in the energy industry, increasing safety, reducing total project cost, And last slide is about the application of high-performance applications in aviation, magnetic resonance device, medical devices, and the niobium could be deliver lots of in terms of attributes. But one I would like to highlight here is the safety, because when we think about aviation or magnetic resonance device, we should ensure the greater safety. So this is just an overview, a glimpse of our initiatives at CBMM. We have much more. I invite you to see our website. We have all information there, and myself and my colleagues are here to share more information with you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chris, for this very inspiring presentation. And it's impressive to see what CBMM is doing to decarbonize its operations. And it's clear to me that you are very passionate about this topic
yes.
to decarbonize it.
Not only me, but all the people here from CBMM, they are. Yeah.
And from a German perspective, it's just incredible that for you Scope 2 is not a problem, because you have so much hydro energy in Brazil. Yeah. Something that we don't have here in this country. But if you ever go to Brazil, I recommend you to visit Foz do Iguaçu. You can see so much water coming down the mountain. You will say the Niagara Falls are like a small creek in comparison. It's incredible. Yeah, and I think then you realize how fortunate Brazil is with the hydroelectricity that they have.
For sure.
Let's take a look at one or two questions. In the first row, Jérôme.
Thank you. Very great presentation, Chris. Thank you. That was super interesting. Here, I'm here.
Okay.
I'm Jérôme Lucas from Fast Forward Zero. You had an impressive carbon footprint reduction from 2019 to 22, 5.1 to 1.66, exactly. If I remember.
Yes, you are right.
How did you do that?
The first, we took the decision to use 100% renewable energy. This was key for us to reduce the carbon footprint, and we moved from primary aluminum to scrap. So, and there are other improvements, but these two made the most significant decrease in terms of carbon emission. And we'll continue working to decrease even more, yes. Pão de queijo. Who's asking pão de queijo, guys, here? Someone that visits Brazil and eat pão de queijo.
Obviously, they liked it. It's stuck in their mind.
Cheese bread, very typical in Brazil. Yeah.
So, Chris, what's the biggest challenge you still have to solve on the way to net zero?
Net zero, good question. We have a engineering team focused on find alternatives to drive net zero. And we are testing. We are running lots of testing. For example, replace LPG to bio-LPG, or replacing diesel for biodiesel. And we are negotiating and try to understand how that changes will impact our efficiency in the plant. The tests are going very well. We have just one challenge, I think everybody's challenge here is about graphite electrodes, because we don't have alternatives to replace that yet. But for all the rest sources, all the sources we have, the team looking for solutions to replace it and move to zero fossil fuel in this sense.
Okay.
Right.
So maybe we take one last question, because there's a lot of people in the audience also from the battery value chain. So CBMM is known for ferroniobium. In fact, CBMM created the market for ferroniobium many decades ago and invested in research and development into new steel alloys which contain niobium. The next big thing is batteries. What role can niobium play in batteries, and can it also help to decarbonize electric vehicles?
Yeah, this is connected with our electrification strategy. To have more focus on that, last year we restructure our area, so now we have a division for new materials and applications, and batteries are inside of this, and we have focus. We are developing new products and new projects with our customers. Fabio D'Aiuto is responsible for Europe, and he's also driving this segment. And we see battery growing largely in the next few years, so it's one of our key strategies for growth in the company and a diversified portfolio.
And for the battery recyclers in the room, will they have to recycle also niobium from batteries in the future? Do you think it will play a role in the battery chemistry?
Yeah, we can collaborate. I think we are in the beginning of this understanding in terms of recycling involving niobium, not the whole pack of battery, but for sure we are researching, understanding better how to move on with that.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Thank you very much for this great presentation.
Thank you.
Also